Now, if you're in your first 1-2 years of your business, have done the best to show up consistently with content and overcome all that discomfort of seeing 80-90% of your content not landing, not getting the engagement you want, the client inquiries or the newsletter signups, then watch this video to the end, because you're going to see 3 things I would definitely do if I was still an early stage of building my business, if clients don't sign, or if you want the right aligned committed clients sliding into your DMs who light you up, who you want to work with as a heart-led entrepreneur. Full transparency, I only started focusing on attracting one-to-one clients in my 2nd year of business, and only because I was so exhausted of the pressure of constantly posting like 3-5 times a day all these like short form content and all kinds of like entertainment and inspiration and education and all that bullshit that a lot of social media managers tell you to do. The truth was, I was an entertainer. I was serving an algorithm instead of creating something from the heart and inviting the committed segment of my audience on a deeper journey in my paid programs. My consistent posting on Instagram was basically attracting those people who just wanted to learn more about what I wanted to talk about. And whenever I hosted a webinar, a masterclass, or a challenge, I was still super anxious, constantly spiraling, because I wasn't sure if people are actually going to buy. Many times they didn't. I had a content strategy focusing on likes, followers, engagement, sales, and all that shit, but I didn't have a messaging that attracted a committed, serious, real, actual, aligned buyer into my business. It's basically that the elements throughout your content that kind of signal to them what is the next step, what the paid program looks like, and kind of explains the value that they can expect when they go through that transformation, which is obviously going to be a lot more valuable than just keeping on scrolling and getting all the dopamine hit. And quite honestly, now that I'm in the messaging coaching space, what I see a lot of purpose-driven entrepreneurs completely miss is understanding the role of content that then is supposed to generate clients, inquiries, and all that stuff in their business. And quite honestly, now that I've been in the messaging coaching space as well in the past 3 years, what a lot of purpose-driven entrepreneurs miss is the role, or understanding the role, of creating content. Invisible creators tend to treat content like a volume game. I have to post more, I have to get more followers, more views, I need to be more visible. Aligned entrepreneurs understand that a buyer looks for depth. They look for certain signals that tell them that there is a way beyond what this free content offers. They intentionally seek to buyers across all their content, as opposed to what a lot of entrepreneurs default to speaking to, which are browsers, people who will never end up becoming their clients. And ignoring what I'm going to be talking to you about in the next few minutes is probably going to lead to what I experienced when my content lacked messaging. You'll be second guessing yourself with every post and wondering if it will ever lead to anyone booking a call with you or reaching out. You might even get burnt out from the constant need to be relevant, post, even if you create space, regulate your emotions, beginning to resent your audience. After all those years or even decades of self-development, and what's probably even more painful for any impact-driven entrepreneur, mentor, or guide like you won't be able to make the real impact you want to make on the thousands of people that you're meant to help in your lifetime. But what if I told you that none of this is actually your problem? Now let's start with the obvious. A lot of entrepreneurs think that their job is to sell their program. So they're constantly asking, so how do I make a difference between free content and paid content? How do I make sure that people actually book the calls and they just like read through my Substack article or watch my video? What their role is to do their best to create nervous system safety for a soul client who already wants what they have, which is what we can create content around, so we can filter out the people who are unaligned, who aren't meant to be in our services, which is probably content for another video. So the soul client has safety, saying yes to the transformation, paying the thousands of dollars that you might be charging them, because you understand the power of investing in themselves. What their role is simply create nervous system safety with this new unfamiliar path, your program, in their body, so that they can say yes to the investment in the transformation. And here's why that matters. Neuroscience says that the moment you invest, whether it's money, time, attention, your entire physiology changes. Neuroscience says that the moment you commit to this new identity, whether it's through paying money, spending more time on doing new things, attention, our entire physiology changes. We commit to new opportunities. We make choices we've never even seen before because our attention, our reticular activating system, if you know anything about that, is finally tuned into who we are becoming. And because we invested, we have skin in the game, we are a lot more likely to focus on avoiding losing the money that we invested than on improving, building in new habits, rewiring our brain, basically doing the uncomfortable, because losing what we've already paid, losing all that time that we decided to invest, is a lot scarier. So if you want to be the type of purpose-driven entrepreneur who actually cares, who wants to make sure that your unique blend of skills, gifts, and passions have an impact on someone else's life, potentially thousands of people throughout the lifetime of your business, you must make selling your best friend. Because when you make selling mean helping someone commit to a new path, to the realm of possibilities, you're essentially saying, I'm helping you make it easier for you to change. So the reason clients don't sign has got nothing to do with your worth as a coach, which is a huge thing that we unwrap inside my coaching program and my membership. And the moment my students are able to separate themselves from the outcome of that selling, whether the person buys or not, because they focus on what their job is, which is what the rest of this video is going to be about, their confidence, which is a huge differentiator in whether the sale goes on or not, actually skyrockets. The real issue is that you may just not have shown your people the real value of that transformation. I think keeping on creating more content, more experiences, refining what you are saying in your webinar, switching up the order of the slides is going to help them see that. But it's essentially just keeping them in a trap of doing busy activity without experiencing that real transformation, giving them the narrative that yes, they will figure it out on their own, just relying on coming back to your free content. There is no commitment, there is no change, so you're doing them a disservice. While keeping them trapped in busy activity without experiencing that real transformation, because you don't understand why clients don't sign, the psychology of it. And if you want to see what I mean by that, how do we communicate the actual value of a transformation so the right people see it and they eventually say, shut up and take my money, I break this all down in an entirely free course for any purpose-driven, impact-led entrepreneur throughout 7 different videos on all the aspects that my students learn about how to create content with intention, with a strategy in mind, so the right people don't just get magnetized to it. It doesn't just get in front of the right people, but it also invites them to see, look, this is what you would get, this is what you would lose if you decide not to sign up for my paid services. If you want to get more of the right eyeballs onto your content and then convert those eyeballs into hands that are actually paying you with their hard-earned money, click the first link in the description below to sign up. The number one way we make sure this happens is by adding decision points. And one of the reasons your content may not be getting potential clients, getting them into your DMs, clicking the link, signing up as well, is because there are no decision points throughout your content. And just think about it. Your potential client, someone who has the means, the willingness to invest like thousands of dollars in coaching, in support, in mentorship, has probably gone through years of sitting in their shame, in their overthinking, in their helplessness, in their constant negative self-talk. It's easy to think that if we just like put together a few slides and explain our methodology and give them a couple of solutions, create like an email course, and if they don't buy, we're going to extend it into a 10 email course, that they will finally see the value in investing, believing that the only thing people need is a clearer explanation of why they are experiencing their problems. When that it in itself doesn't create a different decision in someone who's already been trying for years and years and they cannot get out of their own self-inflicted box. That's exactly what I thought would happen as well. As an expert, it was easy for me to teach, to educate, to explain. That's why I was using that in like 80-90% of my content. What I realized though was that my most committed clients have already done the research, especially nowadays when you have like hundreds of different AI tools for people to like ask what their issue is, provide them solutions, entire study plans or action plans. None of that, nor your explanations in your content, will lead to a change in behavior, meaning the change of behavior that's necessary for the transformation to start. Think about how many times maybe you had a discussion with a friend or a partner and you told them what you don't like about the way they behave towards you. Did they change by just explaining to them what they are going through? Most of the time they didn't. Explanation doesn't make people change. A decision does. So when we create the experiences that lead to a decision and then build it up so that at the end people are actually sort of given the chance, not forced, but given the chance to choose. Are you going to just stay this way, or you will choose the realm of possibilities? My conversions tripled, quadrupled, because I understood what those struggling potential clients needed to actually start saying, yes, this is for me. I'm willing to do the work. I communicated the value in a way that made sense to them. That was my responsibility. Whether they signed up or not wasn't. So whereas an invisible creator thinks that their job is to create value after value after value and then sell, an aligned entrepreneur understands that their role is simply do their best to communicate to the best of their ability the value of that transformation and inspire people to make a decision towards the realm of possibility, basically investing in the transformation, and let people decide how they want to go about their lives. Now, there are altogether 5 different ways that my students use to not just provide value, but also make people want their paid services. But I'm going to share you the first most powerful one, because I'm sure if you implement this, just this one thing from this video, you're going to see a lot more of the right people reaching out to you, wanting to work with you without you having to like hard sell or even feel like you're sleazy or salesy. To a casual follower, this element provides some real value, some real insights. They're going to get what they came to you for, they get the dopamine hit, they exchange it with a like or a comment or a save or something. But to a potential buyer, this is going to be a signal telling them, look, this is not the whole picture. You could use this and get some results, but if you want the full picture, a real transformation, you're going to have to dig deeper, which is to be found in my paid program. This will actually answer the question that a buyer gets when they check out your content, and it really resonates with them as long as you communicate it in the order that makes sense to them, which is a huge part of what we learn inside Impact, my membership, which is going to be, all right, so I know that what I'm supposed to be doing, I know what my problem is, I know why things haven't worked. So what's the next step? When you speak to that, they're going to start digging deeper. Maybe they sign up to your newsletter. Maybe if you have a low ticket offer, they will explore themselves a bit more through that. Or they will reach out, they book a clarity call or anything else. Because you created content that made them already want what you have. So the moment you pitch, they are in. And guess how easier it is to actually sell your services to someone who already wants it? How much freedom it gives you, how much less anxiety you will have when you're selling, when you know that that person who came to you is already like 90% sold on your thought leadership, on your framework, on everything that you stand for. And you've just witnessed exactly what I was talking about. I was simply mentioning that my members have access to 5 different ways to build demand for their paid program. But I also told you that I'm going to share with you one super powerful one that you will find extremely useful to get more clients, to get your content in front of the right eyeballs, but also signaling to my soul clients out there that this is just one of the many strategies that they could learn. So they build a congruent ecosystem that consistently gets them qualified leads of people that light them up working with and aligned clients that they actually want to help and make an impact on. So take the time to think about what your framework is and think of how you could chunk this up into smaller pieces, and then not all of it, but a few of the different chunks you could talk about in your content, but framing it not as just like, oh, here's some free advice that you could use the next time. You could do that too. But if you want to attract buyers, we need to frame it in a way that it's just a part of a bigger mechanism, framework, or principles that you are teaching in your paid program. And last but not least, for your soul clients to finally say yes and to make it easier without feeling like, oh, we have to force them to make a decision, we have to make them feel like shit, like turn the knife. We just simply confront them with a choice. Because one of the reasons they might not buy is because they don't realize, humans, we are programmed to look at short-term results. What benefits us, our survival in the short term. They might not see the cost of not investing, which is your job, part of what you will be learning inside Value Unleashed, to communicate. If you follow me on Instagram, you often see me post content like this, which many times gets me inquiries, people signing up, checking out our community, because I tap into the before after of my own transformation as an entrepreneur, the before after of my clients, or contrasting the struggles that my soul client is facing, showing them how the empowered version of themselves would react in those situations. So a student of mine would showcase someone who's already working towards 18% body fat would have their gym bag prepared right at the front door, or would meal prep on a Sunday. They would say, I choose not to eat this, based on their identity. And they would potentially surround themselves with a community of people, a brotherhood, sisterhood, or we can call them whatever, that supports them, that have the same goal. And then oppose this to a person who keeps wanting to reach that 18% body fat but never reaches it, keeps on yo-yoing because they have a very reactive environment. They have snacks in the kitchen, relatives who don't support them, constantly keep them in survival mode. They have all or nothing thinking and don't understand the power of consistency, like we've got to do stuff on shit days. And someone who does it all alone, thinking that they will figure it out somehow, get out of their thinking just by consuming free content. Contrast is a powerful tool because it plays into our ancient wiring for noticing what's important for our survival. We needed that skill to see contrast between like the green trees and the poisonous red snakes and yellow frogs to distinguish between what's for our survival and what's dangerous or poisonous. And when it comes to neural safety, and this is something, if the only thing you take away from this video, then let this be this. The more you sell to that primitive brain that focuses on things like contrast and fear and choices, the more your conversions are going to go up. Again, if you're done constantly hearing crickets anytime you post content, or the people who reach out end up ghosting you, not being the committed type of aligned client that you want to work with, no matter how much you improve your writing, you check the quality of your content, how many masterclasses you have run, and you want to get to those consistent 3K, 5K, 10K months, get into Value Unleashed right now. The link is the first link in the description, and see for yourself the steps that I'll be walking you through, how to make selling easier for you, and also how to make buying from you easier for a soul client out there without you ever having to compromise your values or looking like you're taking money away from someone. So let me know if you're gonna try or you've tried any of the strategies that I've shared. I'm always curious about how what I'm sharing helps you grow your impact-driven business. And if you have any questions, something that I might have missed, or you want me to expand on, I'm always open to really anything, learning from my audience, getting all the feedback. Hit me in the comment section below and let's talk. Thank you so much again for paying attention, watching through the entire video, and can't wait to see you in another one. If you're in your first 1-2 years of your business and you've done your best to stay consistent, you've overcome all that discomfort of seeing 80-90% of your content doesn't yeah, I speak so much, fuck. and results and someone who does have the results. What? An 80% towards an 18